Title: When my marriage ended, my own kin didn't just side with my former spouse. They essentially swapped me out for her. They welcomed her to Thanksgiving and told me, "You're welcome, but only if you stay silent and don't make a pitiful scene." I replied, "No need to fret. I'd sooner dine with strangers than break bread with betrayers." 3 days later, I made one decision that turned their world upside down. My cousin called me, tears in his voice. "Everything's crumbling. Please help." Chapter 1. Thanksgiving treachery. The aroma of roasted turkey and spiced pies filled the air, the kind of scent that should have felt like home. But that evening, as I entered my parents' dining room, it was like stepping into hostile territory. My daughter Emily held my hand tightly. "Dad, why are you so quiet?" she murmured. I managed a smile. "Just soaking it all in, sweetheart." At the grand oak table, everyone was already seated. My ex-wife occupied the head, chuckling with my cousins as if she were a born member of the clan. My usual chair, where I'd sat for 35 years of Thanksgivings, was gone. In its place was a single seat reserved for her. My mother glanced at me and quickly averted her eyes, as if embarrassed but not enough to act. My father cleared his throat, filled her wineglass, and raised it high. "To family," he proclaimed. "To those who truly count." Glasses clinked. My ex smirked, linking arms with my cousin as if she belonged. When I stepped closer, my brother blocked me with a hand on my chest. His wife sneered and said, "You can join, but only if you stay quiet and don't cause one of your pathetic dramas." A few snickers rippled around the table. My ex didn't even glance my way, too absorbed in her role as the family's new favorite. I swallowed hard, every fiber urging me to yell, to demand why my own blood had turned against me. But Emily's grip on my hand reminded me of dignity, so I offered a faint smile, nodded once, and said softly, "No worries. I'd rather share a meal with strangers than sit among betrayers." Then I turned, guided my daughter out the door and into the chilly night. Behind us, the laughter stumbled, but I didn't look back. In that moment, a spark ignited within me. I wasn't just leaving them behind. I was moving toward something far greater. They thought they'd replaced me. They had no clue what was coming. Chapter 2. Severing bonds. The next morning, I sat at the kitchen table with Emily, eating cereal as my phone buzzed with group chat notifications. Photos from Thanksgiving flooded in, smiling faces, my ex cradling my niece, captions reading, "Family is everything." Not one message asked where I'd gone, not one check-in. I stared at the screen, then silently removed myself from every family chat, Facebook, WhatsApp, Messenger. Gone. Emily looked up. "Dad, are you upset with Grandma and Grandpa?" I forced a smile. "Not upset, sweetheart. Just figuring out who really has our back." After dropping her at school, I stopped by the bank. One signature closed every joint account I'd ever let my parents and siblings access. I'd been too generous for too long, covering bills, settling debts, funding trips, no more. Then I called my attorney. "Draft it," I said. "Draft what?" he asked. "New wills, new ownership documents. Everything I control skips my family entirely. If they don't want me, they don't get a cent." He let out a low whistle. "That's going to hurt." I leaned back, picturing my father toasting at next year's Thanksgiving, only to realize the house he stood in was no longer his. "They fired the first shot," I said quietly. "I'm just ending the battle." Because what they didn't know was that my father's company, the one they all leaned on, was partly mine through a trust he'd forgotten I co-signed years ago. And with one move, I could unravel their entire illusion of power. Chapter 3. The ambush. The first domino toppled on a calm Monday morning. I was sipping coffee when my phone buzzed, not from family, but from the manager of my father's company. "Mr. Carter," he said nervously, "we got a legal notice. It says you're claiming your controlling stake." I smiled. "That's right," he paused. "Sir, your father told everyone the company was his alone. They'll be furious." Then it's time they faced reality. Years ago, when my father pleaded for my investment in his business expansion, I'd quietly secured 35% ownership, held in a trust for my daughter. He'd brushed it off as mere paperwork. It wasn't, it was power. And now, by asserting my rights, every major decision, payroll, property sales, required my approval. By noon, my sister texted, "What the hell are you doing? You're wrecking Thanksgiving again." "Me? No," I replied. "I'm just ensuring the leeches stop feeding on what I built." That night, emails flooded in from board members, some panicked, some enraged. My father's empire was cracking, and news of my authority spread like wildfire. But I wasn't finished. I called my cousin, the one who'd smirked at Thanksgiving as my ex took my place. He worked in the company's accounting. "Dig up everything," I told him. Every questionable loan, every unauthorized payment, every personal expense they've hidden in the books. If they want to play family against me, let's see how shareholders react when the secrets spill out. He hesitated. That could sink the whole company. Precisely, I said coldly. Let them watch everything they stole crumble to dust, because this wasn't just about vengeance anymore. It was about showing them the pain of betrayal by those they trusted most. Soon, the whole family would beg for the seat they once refused me. Chapter 4. The collapse at the supper table Sunday dinners at my parents' house once meant laughter, tailies, and my mother's roasted chicken. Now it felt like entering a battlefield. I arrived late on purpose. My ex-wife's car was already in the driveway, and through the window I saw her laughing at the table with my family. My asterisk family, like she was one of them. When I stepped inside, the room hushed for a moment before my father snapped, "If you're here to stir up trouble, get out." I smiled calmly and sat. "Relax, I won't stay long." My sister folded her arms. "Good. Because this is a family dinner, real asterisk family." I nearly laughed. "Funny you mention that, because in about 30 seconds you'll wish you'd never said those words." Before they could reply, my phone pinged with a scheduled alert. Right on time, every device at the table, my father's, mother's, even my ex's, lit up with an incoming email. They glanced down, puzzled, then paled. It was the audit report, the one my cousin had assembled, detailing every shady loan, every misappropriated dollar, every falsified expense tied to their names, sent not just to them but to the company's shareholders, the IRS, and the local paper's business desk. My father slammed the table. "What the hell have you done?" I leaned back. "Me, nothing, I just shared the truth. Transparency, right? Isn't that what asterisk real family values?" My mother's hand trembled as she scrolled. This will destroy us." "That's the idea," I said coldly. My ex-wife opened her phone, expecting to gloat, but her smirk vanished, because nestled in the email was her secret. The luxury condo lease she'd charged to the company as consulting fees. Her perfect ex-daughter-in-law image shattered before everyone. The silence was thick, broken only by my nephew, Ethan, whispering, "Mom." "What's this mean?" I stood, easing my chair back slowly. "It means Thanksgiving won't be here anymore. It means the days of mocking me while you profit from what's not yours are done." As I walked out, chaos erupted behind me, shouts, sobs, phones ringing endlessly. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like the outcast. I felt like the judge. Chapter 5. The aftermath. By Monday morning, the story had detonated. The Business Journal's headline screamed, "Family-run firm crumbles amid fraud, nepotism, and scandal." The audit's details spread like wildfire. Investors withdrew overnight, vendors halted contracts, and regulators launched probes. The once proud company my father built was collapsing under its own deceit. Deceit they'd mocked me for refusing to enable. Calls flooded their phones, not from friends offering support, but from attorneys, creditors, and reporters digging for more. My cousin texted me at dawn. "It's pandemonium here. Uncles yelling at everyone, aunts sobbing nonstop. Your ex is being scapegoated by mom. They're blaming her for it all. This is wild." Meanwhile, my ex-wife's fall was even swifter. Her condo lease scandal hit social media, with images of her lavish secret life plastered everywhere, alongside her sanctimonious posts about family loyalty. The hypocrisy was glaring. Even her allies, who once sneered at me during holidays, publicly disowned her. The perfect daughter-in-law facade was irreparably broken. But the most satisfying blow came that evening when my brother called, frantic. "You've destroyed us," he spat. "The company's being seized and Dad says it's all your fault." I let him vent, then said evenly, "No, you destroyed yourselves. I just stopped shielding you." Then I hung up. That night, as I sat on my porch with coffee, my phone buzzed again. This time, a message from my mother. Not accusations, not demands, just 3 words. "We need you." I didn't respond because for the first time in years I felt unshackled. Chapter 6. The final lesson asterisk. 3 weeks later, the dust had settled. The company was gone, properties repossessed, and the family name, once flaunted at every country club gala, now whispered like a curse. My ex-wife had vanished from social media, my brother faced lawsuits, and my parents dodged neighbors by slipping out at night. But me, I was finally free of them. One evening, my daughter brought takeout. She'd been the only one who never judged me, the only one who saw through their venom. We sat on the porch, sharing dumplings, when she said softly, "Dad, I'm glad you left when you did. They always made you seem weak, but you were the only strong one." Her words struck deeper than any praise from strangers ever could, because in that moment I realized something vital. Revenge wasn't just about dismantling them. It was about reclaiming myself, about refusing to sit at a table where I wasn't valued, about teaching my daughter and myself that silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. I'd left their house with nothing, but now they were the ones empty. And me, I had peace, dignity, and the satisfaction of knowing they'd never recover from the lesson I delivered. When you betray the one person who protected you, don't be shocked when he steps aside and lets the world see your true colors. I raised my glass of tea to the night sky and whispered, "To freedom." For the first time in years, it felt like a true toast. Epilogue: the long game. A year later, I was in a quiet cafe reviewing a new business proposal. My ventures were thriving better than ever. Without the constant burden of family politics and betrayal, I had room to grow, think, and create. That's when my cousin, the one who'd called me sobbing when it all fell apart, walked in. He looked uneasy, clutching an untouched coffee. He slid into the seat across from me and whispered, They still talk about you, you know. They say you ruined them, that you destroyed the family." I smiled faintly. "Funny. I say they ruined themselves, I just stepped aside." He stared at me, eyes wide, then nodded slowly. "You know, I think you're right. They needed a scapegoat because facing the truth was too painful." I leaned back, my voice steady. "Blaming is easy. Accountability is harder. They never learned the difference, and that's why they lost." As he left, I lingered on that thought, because deep down I knew my true revenge wasn't just their loss of wealth, homes, or status. It was that they'd spend their lives haunted by the fact that the person they ridiculed, rejected, and betrayed was the one who emerged whole. And me? I wasn't just whole, I was free. Was this revenge entirely justified? Share your thoughts on this story in the comments below. If you believe this tale is warranted, give it a like and pass it along to someone who needs this energy. And subscribe to Lauren's story for more gripping tales of betrayal and justice. Because here every deception meets its reckoning and every treachery finds its shadow. Stay sharp, stay resilient, and stay tuned.